Welcome to the show. I'm John Ruggiero, founder of New Jersey Paranormal. We've been investigating the paranormal in and around New Jersey for over 10 years. Tonight's episode features the Barron Art Center, one of the oldest buildings in Woodbridge, New Jersey, and one of its most haunted.
Hello, I'm Brenda Velasco, Township Historian of Woodbridge Township, and I welcome you to the Barron Art Center. This was the first free public library in Middlesex County, located right on Port Reading Avenue and Rawway Avenue. In 1877, it opened as a public library thanks to one of our former residents, Thomas Barron, who bequeathed in his will $50,000 for the creation of a free public library for the residents of Woodbridge. His nephew, Dr. John Connor Barron, ensured that within 1 year that the funds were appropriated and this structure was built in the Romanesque style, employing J. Cleveland Cady, the architect, who also had done the old Metropolitan Opera House, as well as the 77th Street facade of the American Museum of Natural History. Right now we're standing in the vestibule, and you could see the different aspects of the Romanesque Revival style. You have an arch above me, you have the terracotta panels of the flowers, which are a Byzantine influence, and you also have the stained glass windows, which reflect that Romanesque Revival style. Behind me, you have one of the windows, and it's the only window, stained glass window throughout the building that has the signature of James Baker. To our right, you'll go into the rose room with the big rose window and the vaulted ceiling, and this is where we have our art and lectures gallery displays. You also have, if you walk straight ahead, you would be going into the office reception area. And at one time, this was the library, the reading room of the library, with the apse to the left. And downstairs in the basement, this was always part of the Barron Arts Library, wasn't utilized until it became the Barron Arts Center in 1977, and you had it paved, partially paved in 1938, and then the remainder was paved. It's currently used for art classes around the late 1990s. So I've given you a tour and with the building, but it is the Romanesque Revival style built during the Victorian era in 1877.
Hi, I'm here with Cynthia Knight, Director of the Barron Art Center, and Connie Widmer, Administrative Assistant. Cynthia, you've been with the Barron Art Center for 15 years.
Yes, I've been there for 15 years.
And at what point did you start experiencing strange occurrences at the Barron Art Center?
It's about 4 months after I was there, I started seeing things moved. And I'm not talking just like a pen from here to there. If you had a big plant that was on top of your desk, it'd be moved to the other side of the room. Or we would just have things missing. And you know, they were there and they would be missing for a couple of days, and then they would all of a sudden show up in the most unlikely place to find them. We had a volunteer who had antique bell choir music, and she needed copies for her church. We ran them for her. Then she forgot to take the sheet. We went down to remove the sheet to be copied, and it was gone. Our program coordinator proceeded to go through all bags of recyclable materials, tearing everything apart. It was nowhere to be found. 3 days later, the paperwork appears not under the flap, on top of the copier. Was not there. Everyone checked, and our program coordinator was thorough in saying it had to be here. It would just come back. Of course, then I would just say, leave me alone.
Were there any other things
bumps
early on?
Yeah, there were like, at first I used to think that maybe it was the artwork or it being an old building, you know, things adjusting. and I would go into the gallery and no artwork fell or anything, and it would be big like thumps on the wall. Sometimes it would sound like downstairs, we keep our copiers and we have art classes, it would sound like someone was moving furniture or shifting things around. And things like that just happened. I just accepted it, and after a while I would just say, well, just leave me alone, and you try to, and it was funny because if you tried to ignore it, then it would happen more.
Okay.
The alarm system would go off for no reason. And in the beginning, it was going off a lot. That I even asked the old director, and he says, no, it doesn't go off that much. So when the alarm system goes off, they call you. At the same time, they're calling the Woodbridge police. You sit outside. When the police come, we would go inside, and they would say, really nice, you stay here after I disarm the building, and there'd be nothing.
So these are motion sensors that are going off inside the building when nobody's there.
Right, and they're downstairs. They're in the gallery because a lot of times we have expensive art, so we have a liability and insurance things, and we're covered. So they're pretty accurate. And,
so then through the years, did you experience more? Were there different types of?
There would be a lot of things along that way. We would hear different taps. One time I was downstairs, in a room, and doing some things, and then all of a sudden there was a loud banging on the door, like people wanted to get in. And I says, okay, I'll be right up. And I come up, and the only two people in the building are myself, Connie, and Brandon, our program coordinator. I says, what's the matter? Do you need me for something? And they looked at me like I had 5 heads. We didn't bother you.
This is downstairs in the basement area with the hallway and the room that you use for the drawings.
And they said we weren't down there. And then I thought they were pranking me. And then I thought after a while I looked at Connie and she'd start tee-heeing and laughing, but it was no prank. And it was as loud as can be. It was just like boom, 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 boom on the door. So.
Did you ever see anything in the Barron Art Center? Spirit, apparition?
Well, and this only happened actually once. When I first started working there, I was getting known in the community, so a lot of my daytime hours I would spend visiting different businesses. Hi, this is who I am, being known in the community. Then I would go back and I would begin work at maybe 5 or 6 o'clock at night. So I would be there sometime till about 9, but it didn't happen on that night. And our old program coordinator, who has retired, Nancy Caceres, she was there. I got up from my desk to go to a file cabinet, which is by the door to the gallery. Okay. And I saw a gentleman dressed in full period clothes, almost like Quaker type clothes, with his hands behind his back. And when I was going over there and he saw me, he did one big step and he crossed the entrance to the gallery, to the main part of the art center. So at this, I was in such a hurry, under deadline. I went and I grabbed my papers, and I'm going, who was that? So I said to Nancy, did you ever? She goes, oh no, people talked all the time about people being in here, about spirits. And now keep in mind, Nancy worked for the township 30 years. Right. She said, I never saw anything. I said, well, let me tell you something. I just saw something.
So you were sitting at your desk, and your desk faces
that way,
the
but
gallery.
it didn't make itself known till I was from my desk to almost by where the file cabinet is, which is what, about 10, 12 feet?
About that.
Yeah.
And did it disappear? Did it?
Oh, I didn't go in there to follow. He kind of saw me, and it was almost, I thought, like he wanted to be seen.
So he did kind of look at you and acknowledge you.
He acknowledged me, then he took the big step where you couldn't see him anymore. So I just kept on saying to myself, don't bother me, I have a lot of work to do. When you see things like that, I don't know. I've never seen, we have had people that took pictures during the train show of children watching the trains, and in the photographs there would be these orbs above the kids' heads, and I don't know if they could have been, but someone told me they were probably something of a spiritual effect, and it just wasn't one person. When people would come and show me the pictures from the train show, they were present, and everyone said, and I tried playing around with the lights to see maybe it was our lighting, but we don't have really lights on for the train show overhead.
Well, what about you, Connie? You've been there a number of years. Have you
5 years
ever
now.
experienced
Let me
anything?
just share with you that when I go in the morning, because I've heard these stories, I always say good morning.
Okay,
I really
smart.
do.
That's smart.
I do. Nobody ever answers me. But again, in the basement area, Cynthia, where she had her knocking, I heard my name called as clear as anything. Okay, and I said, I'll be right there. I go upstairs. There's 4 people in the office, right? I said, somebody looking for me? And they go, no. I said, nobody called my name? They go, no. I go, well, something called my name, okay? Then another time we were there in the evening with my husband, actually, with the paranormals, and we were in the office area, and the lights started to dim on and off, on and off. They were flickering for a period of time. I go, uh-oh. And recently, now, this year sometime, I don't even remember exactly when, I'm there by myself in the morning. I opened up, and I was putting something in the gallery area over toward the steps. I swear I heard somebody run down those steps.
Really?
So I said, oh my gosh, you startled me. And then I peeked down very gingerly, and I said, I think I startled you.
Wow.
But, yeah.
Yeah, there was another time, and this is pretty recent too. I came in the morning, and I do the check. We put the lights on, we do our rounds, and then the bathroom door to the women's room downstairs was closed. They're just single little bathrooms, and I opened the door and I heard the water running. Now the mirror is all fog, so I didn't want to open the door anymore. I called Brandon and I said, "Ooh, where are you in relation to being in work?" And I said, well, stay with me on the phone. I said, I'm going to put my big girl pants on now and I'm going to open that door. So I opened the door and it was hot water running. The whole mirror was fogged. I turned everything off and I left. And I called Silent Companion, who was, you know, our alarm system, to find out who was the last person to close the office to alarm it and who was the first one in today. They said, you alarmed the office last night at 4:35 and you opened the door at 8:10 this morning.
Wow.
So then I said to whatever was around, hey, you got to stop doing this. Don't do this. I mean, I was scared. You know, it was like right out of a horror film.
That's how it happens.
You feel like saying go away. You'd see on the mirror something right, go away. But it was things like that all the time.
So let me ask you both one last question. Has there been any volunteers or visitors who have come to you and asked you, hey, is there something going on here because they've experienced something?
Oh, yeah. Courtney, she's one of our docents. She keeps the building open on days when we have exhibits. She was playing the piano, and she felt someone with her by the piano.
And the piano's in the office
right,
area.
The piano's upstairs in the office. And a lot of volunteers that were there have experiencing like the thumping on the walls. It sounds like someone's slamming the walls.
The banging.
Right. And then I used to think that, let's be logical, you know, it's an old building. I'm thinking maybe it can pick up on sounds in the neighborhood. You know, like if someone was doing something,
there
it would
are
generate.
environmental
There are
sounds
different.
that are explainable.
There are different sounds, but these were, you know, when you think and you can kind of write that off, then it does something like knocking on the door or the running down of the stairs that you've experienced. Like right when you say, okay, let's make this practical, and let's say it's this, then it goes around and does something else, which you can't explain.
We'll be back in a moment. I'm here with the other members of New Jersey Paranormal, Chris and Tanya. We're going to review the evidence that we captured from our investigation in the Barron Art Center. Tanya, you want to start with the first clip?
Sure. The first clip is in the gallery. They had a lot of claims. A lot of the volunteers were claiming to hear bangs. Courtney in particular said she heard a loud bang. And when we did our investigation, we were able to validate her claim.
Okay, I'll play that clip.
And really just for us to show Cynthia and the other people of Woodbridge that somebody still is in the Barron Art Center.
I heard that pretty clear too.
So that came through clear. I was sitting there and it was sort of right next to me, and that wasn't the only time we heard it. It happened actually a few times during the course of our investigation. So that was one we were definitely able to validate because we experienced it.
Well, the other great thing on the second clip, we were able to validate, Cynthia had actually made a statement that she saw a male apparition that went through there in like quicker dress period, and we actually got a response, and it was a male voice that came through on this video.
Okay, play that one.
Are you one of the artists of one of these paintings?
Definitely tell it's male.
No.
Did you hear that?
I thought I saw a flash of light over here.
When you said, are you one of the artists, I was seeing like this, and I swear I heard a faint no.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was you said like you like went or something like that. It sounded like a faint no.
No, that wasn't me.
So the reason that's impressive as well is because he heard it live.
doesn't
Usually
happen too often.
EVPs are captured on recorder later, you know, during review. That was actually a live voice that we were able to hear. The third clip here actually takes place in the basement. We have a motion sensor down there that we set up, and it was actually going off making noises. So one of our investigators asked, should I go down and check it out? When I reviewed this clip, I actually heard not just a male voice, but I heard a female voice as well.
And that's
that
a
one-
lot of the reports that they have is there's a male down in the basement and a female down in the basement.
Right. So
And at the time of this clip, there's nobody downstairs.
no, we're all upstairs in the gallery, so this is two voices.
You want me to go down and turn your camera? Let me get a flashlight. I want to go down and get John sit there. Your camera.
Got a flash in my pocket.
Does it again? That's twice.
And like typical men and women, they were fighting.
So again, we were told about a male presence, but we actually captured a female voice as well. So now we move to the basement, Tanya.
Right, and down in the basement, we use something called the K2 meter, and it's a device that measures electromagnetic activity,
Right.
and it has lights on it, and the lights will light up if they're sensing anything.
Right.
So we were down in the basement, and we're getting a direct response. Whatever this entity was directly responding using the K2 meter.
So this is an intelligent
It's
response.
an intelligent response.
Right. And I'll play that clip. If that's the object you choose to communicate with, then light that one up on the easel. Make it light up all the way across. Use all your energy. Keep going. Keep going. Good. Keep going. Light it all the way up if you can. All the way to red. Just keep your hand on it. Keep it lit. Good. Good.
And you see how it only chose the one.
That's the thing.
know?
We use several different devices during the course of investigation, trying to figure out which one the spirit is going to use to try to intelligently communicate with us. It proved it was the K2.
Well, it's funny too because we got such a good response off of that. We continued using the K2, and we actually got a much stronger response when John actually asked a question, a direct question, got a response.
Have you been here a really long time? Wow.
That's phenomenal.
See, but when we're communicating, we're trying to get information because we can't see the spirit. We, most cases, can't hear the spirit. So we try to ask a lot of questions to try to get more information about who it is. That building's been there
Right.
for a very long time. It's right across the street from a cemetery. We're not really sure who's there and why they're there. So in the next clip here, one of the other methods that we use to try to communicate with spirits is a technique called the flashlight technique. You guys are aware that we take the flashlights, two of them, we screw them enough so that they're just off, and we ask the spirit to tap on them to respond to a question. So here I'm trying to figure out if the spirit is capable of communicating that way, and we do get a response. We could talk. I could ask you a question, and if you want to answer yes, you can light both lights. You want to give it a try? Okay, light the other one too. Both at the same time if you want to give it a try. Just tap them both with your fingers. Good. Good. See, what's interesting about that is that first I said turn the light on, and it turned the one on, and then I said tap them
Right.
both.
And both of them go right off.
Yeah. So
That's pretty good.
again, maybe a coincidence, maybe not. So we follow up with additional questions. I asked several questions. There were no responses, and then I got around to asking, "Are you a man?" Cynthia claimed to have seen a man, and I did get a response. Are you a man?
That was like quick.
The other light again, silver light, to confirm that answer, please. Are you a man? Doesn't matter, old man, young man, middle-aged man. Okay, good. So there you see now direct responses on 2 pieces of equipment. And we also did capture some audio recordings as well.
Well, what's really good about this next clip is that, you know, we hear a lot of people say about the claims of what they've heard or what happens, and we were actually able to catch something on film that actually substantiated what's happening in the basement when Cynthia and them use the bathroom if there's a knock, or there's, like Connie said, that her name had been called, and you specifically had asked something to knock, and we actually got a live response to that.
Yeah, we tried to duplicate the claim, and Cynthia claims to have been alone, and that this knock came on the bathroom door. Somebody knocked. So here we are sitting in one area, nobody else in the building, and I asked whoever it was to duplicate that, and you see the clip.
And I've heard that you've knocked on the door there in the bathroom when Courtney was in there. I mean, Cynthia. So you can't be that shy.
Did you just hear that? Yeah. There was a knock to my left.
And that's the hallway where the bathrooms are.
That's the hallway, yep.
Yeah, we've seen shadows in that hallway ourselves. The motion sensors have gone off in that hallway as well.
Our REM pods go off in
Our
that
REM pods
hallway.
go off in that hallway, and they claim to feel uneasy, like something's in that hallway watching them, or they always feel like something's behind them when they're making copies. So for that knock to happen right when
right on cue.
I asked it to, I mean, that's really an intelligent response.
Right. So this next clip, again, we're down in the basement, and you could feel, you could sense, you know, the tension building down there. Kind of wanted us to go. Activity was happening. So
like
we asked.
Change in the atmosphere, right?
Change in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
We asked, do you want us to leave? And we got a response.
If we leave, we won't come back for a little while. We're going to be, like I said, we're going to head up to the attic. You okay with that?
We'll try to talk to the other inhabitants.
I was almost like, okay, good riddance.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe we won't leave then. Look at that, double shot.
All right. You want us to go?
Yeah, I take it that you want us to leave then,
All right,
huh?
we're going to go.
Okay, so again, we're asking for an intelligent response. Do you want us to get out of here? Yes, I want you to leave.
And what people don't understand is, in order for a spirit or anything to light up a K2 meter or light up the REM pod, it takes a lot of energy. And they have to build a lot of that energy up in order to
focus it on something.
Device.
Yeah.
So,
well, what's really unique about this next one is I guess we weren't moving fast enough for the entity to get out of there. So I'm sitting there filming John. Something goes flying by my head.
And that took a lot of energy.
It took a lot of energy to do. Scared the crap out of me, though.
They were serious.
I'm just sitting here. I'm not moving. I'm not trying to intimidate you or scare you. I just want to talk to you.
That's loud.
What the hell are you doing? What was it?
That's the first time I've ever been scared down there.
That wasn't me.
So I asked what she was doing because I thought she had bumped something and made that noise, but that was actually something that was sort of thrown at you and hit that basket that was right near your head.
And it actually happened again later that night, but we didn't catch it on video on the opposite side of the room.
Okay, so this last clip here, I actually noticed on review. I didn't see this clip live. I was in the room when it happened, but I didn't notice it. Upon review, I have a device that I use, you've seen it, that connect, it tracks motion and it portrays me as a stick figure if I stand in front of it. There was another figure in the room with me and I didn't notice it until I reviewed the tape later on. And it actually walks away.
So you were downstairs alone?
Right. You're blocking out. It's like, what the hell's blocking out that connect so much? I carry this around everywhere with me. I want a prop that I can use.
You saw it on the easel?
Mm-hmm.
So again, it was a great investigation. We captured a lot of evidence. We were able to validate a lot of their claims. In my opinion, there is something.
definitely.
There's something.
In
And
the
it's
Barron Arts.
intelligent. It's intelligent.
Yeah, it's definitely.
So again, I think there is something there. I think what Cynthia is saying is true, and I can't wait to get back there.
Me either.
So it was a good investigation, everyone. Thank you for watching New Jersey Paranormal.